Welcome to Israelo Youth Development Talks, where we explore the evolving landscape of faith and spirituality among South Africa's youth. Today we discuss faith deconstruction, a growing movement where young people critically examine and reimagine their inherited religious beliefs. And to unpack this topic, I'm joined with Dr. Chantal Weber. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before we go into this, please just tell us a bit about yourself from birth to present day, just so we can know your journey.
Wow, from birth. Okay, well, I was born in Joburg, South Africa. Born and raised, grew up junior school, high school. I moved to Cape Town when I came to Bible college. And so I've been there, I've been here ever since. I've been in Cape Town since post-matric. That landed me to study further at the university level. And during the Bible college years, also getting very involved in different youth ministry or youth work organizations. So that's me.
We actually forgot, well, not we, I forgot one of the most important things, is that Chantal is the founder of Israelo. Let's start with that. The most important thing. You created and had the vision to develop something as special as Israelo. We do know from our intro video we spoke about who Israelo are, the meaning behind the name, but just before we move into the questions, just around what led you to do what you do today?
Yeah, passionate youth leader, youth worker who didn't just speak youth work, but engaged and lived the realities of being present with young people. And that ignited the introvert in me, but also the drive to then pass on to many other young people, my generation, but after me as well.
Amazing. I look forward to unpacking this with you. So let's take it from the top. What is faith deconstruction for someone who's never heard about this before? What is faith deconstruction and why is it gaining traction amongst young South Africans?
Good question, because the minute you mentioned that, there's many people that actually, without understanding what it means, immediately think about leaving the faith. But it's definitely something to reflect on. Young people of Christian heritage or who self-associate as being Christian, I think with different religious groups as well, but in this context, Christian young people, are basically deconstructing the inherited faith of their parents, their communities, their contexts. And most times, for most older people, we would remember terms like mainline church. So a lot of young people are saying, well, there's different ways to be a Christian today, and it's not necessarily within an institutional, traditional church setting. And so that's the deconstruction process. I would love to have a faith relationship with God, how I experience God and how I actually choose to reflect that. They are bringing that to the table in terms of, no, it doesn't necessarily look like read your Bible, pray every day. It doesn't look like being part of a Friday night youth ministry group anymore. And so the older folk would assume they have left the faith, but it's not the same.
So with them, inverted commas, with traditional church, how do then youth seek authentic ministry then outside of traditional church techniques?
You know, it's funny, Maria, I think back then, 20, 40, 60 years ago, relationship was key. Physical, intentional, consistent relationship, talking relationship, engaging, spending time relationship. That is still the key. Young people want to see authenticity in our religious leaders. They want to see religious leaders who are not just saying things, but who are exemplifying things, who are taking to the streets with them when there's protests for issues of injustice, who are able to love their families and promote healthy families, who are also able to take care of their own well-being, mental health. And so you're finding them looking at so many things happening in society where, unfortunately, religious leaders, faith leaders are not exemplifying this sold out Christianity we're talking about. And so they are then saying, no, we are looking for authentic representation of that. And it may look like hanging out in a group of Christian young people's community context, but it's really about the honesty, the integrity of who you are, who you experience me to be right here should be the same person you experience me to be when you visit me at my home.
Completely.
And they are waiting for the gaps. They are looking for the gaps to see how genuine that is. But they are also exemplifying what authenticity is, because most young people show up as they are. And that's the part we don't like. Yeah.
Especially if we think of that, so over 60% of our population is under 35, and of that, what is how much of that makes up our lower LSMs? And we think in their space they are looking to be seen and to be heard, and they're looking for authentic. And especially with this digital era, which actually moves into my next question, is we're in this digital revolution, and now we have totally different voices coming at us. We have so many things and so many influences in our world. How does someone who's under the age of 35 bridge that gap between I'm struggling and wrestling to find real and authentic, and still being true to the word whilst navigating all the digital spaces around them?
So if we do acknowledge that relationship and building into each other's lives on a consistent basis is true, then helping young people discern the digital platforms they engaged with is crucial. There's just so much. I think there's a lot of youth culture type stuff that they are dealing with that has always been the case. Peer pressure, fashion trends, music trends, so forth. But I think it's escalated to such an extent that the stuff is so accessible that they need people journeying alongside them to discern and to figure out what are the real legit kind of platforms. The problem, though, is that the older generation doesn't even know some of these platforms exist. I have seen some TikToks where young people are messing around with their parents, just, fooling around to say, actually, you don't even know how this thing works.
Yeah.
So I would say that one of the things we need to do as an older generation, and those even older than me, is to get someone in if you don't understand. Get people into your church context, your nonprofit context, to come and share what are these AI things. What are the platforms that are being used? What is the most used? I mean, I'm not even that old, and I've been told Facebook is very old. So what are the things that's being used before we could even help young people choose? But I think what's critical is not just the choice and the discerning which ones, it's the pace at which it's happening. What is the place of rest? What is the place of pause? When I'm expected to respond very quickly.
Yes, of course.
So there's quite a few things we need to consider before alienating the platform, the digital, because we're not going to get away from it. You go to McDonald's now and the waiter doesn't help you. You must go. So how are you going to navigate that just in terms of society? So, yeah.
How do you then suppose that a church navigates this tricky time where this is what youth are currently experiencing, plus we want to be true to the gospel? What are some strategies that you propose that a church could follow in navigating this?
So, as much as I am calling us to embrace technology, I think we also need to be able to help young people understand what the importance of physical humanity is. Because technology is taking over to the point where some of us can't control technology, to the point where we're speaking about robotic platforms, robotic preachers, actually. There's already people doing preachers in churches that are robots. There is helplines that young people are getting referred to that's robots. Our Discovery Health platforms, if you need help, you can't get them on the phone. You must tell the bot what you need. So I think there's something there in terms of the church helping young people experience a sense of humanity. What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be relational? What does it mean to be able to be in community physically? And the meaning that happens in those contexts. Because if we too easily embrace the technological, we're already seeing that the technological is deciding for us. So then what's going to be the role of being in a physical space on a Sunday morning? What's going to be the space of what role will parents play in my life? If I could just ask ChatGPT or any other platform. So I think churches first equipping ourselves to be able to be aware of what's out there. And then also, of course, within the church context, start using some of these platforms so that young people can feel that they can relate, maybe asking them to help us use them. But there is that educational process of what does being human, being church mean?
Sure. So with that, do you feel that youth are rejecting traditional church, or how do you feel that they're redefining their relationship with it?
They're not rejecting community. They are rejecting the traditions that weren't explained to them. And let me just say that there's a book by, and I just want to shout out to Victoria Turner. She's a UK theologian. The book is called Young, Woke and Christian. And why I love that book is because it's a book of young adults from the UK, from different racial groups, gender groups, basically saying to the church, we have not left the building. The church has left us. And they're saying, we are young, we are woke, because that's the label today, but we are actually self-identifying as Christ followers, as Christians. So they are not rejecting traditional church because of it being old. They are rejecting what was not passed on to them. So I'm constantly telling Christian leaders, religious leaders, explain the meaning of symbols. A simple thing like taking up offering in a church is a symbol that we express our faith with on a Sunday morning. But children have grown up just seeing this happen. Nobody's ever explained why we give money to the church, and that's what they're asking. Another thing, communion, incense, it has meaning, it comes from tradition, heritage. So just take time out to explain what those rituals and symbols are about. And I'm convinced that once young people understand that, they make a choice whether they'd like to embrace that, and then they will continue. So it's not tradition as in old church, it's as in we have not passed on our faith in a way that they would want it.
And more so now, with everything moving as quickly as what it is, more so people need faith. But it's how do we create that environment that allows our youth to feel comfortable enough to be in that space. And a lot of the times, it's a simple of, I don't understand. And not even having someone who's been in the faith since birth, but how do we create an environment for our youth who don't know Christ? And they coming to the church and they thinking, okay, this is everything I'm seeing around me, and I'm trying to be in the world but not of the world. But how do I bridge this gap together? So that obviously brings about challenges, but also opportunities. So what challenges do you see the church facing this, and what opportunities do they have at the same time?
So I'm going to say something contentious, actually. I think young people are also teaching us about the pluralistic society we engage in. So I don't think the call is necessarily to convert everybody to Christianity. People think about that very differently. If I believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ dying, he was buried, he was raised for me, and I exemplify what that looks like in my everyday life, when I'm going through suffering, when I'm going through joys, when I'm having to tackle a really hard transitional phase of my life, this gospel becomes a living experience for me. It's not just about a Jesus who died. We keep saying 2000, but 2000's long expired years ago. And so you find my friends who are most likely not self-identifying as Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, atheist. Atheism is a thing nowadays. They would want to know what's the difference. So even the way we speak about this gospel is the one we should be sharing with everybody, as though everybody is not good enough. That is already sending a message that Christians think we are better than everybody else. But then we don't live in a way that affects change in local communities. There's 10 churches in one road, but everybody's poor. Everybody's going hungry. So young people are saying, no. That is a challenge for the church. Why are people going hungry if we have 10 churches in this road? The opportunity, I think, is to kind of allow young people to share their experience of their daily lived faith realities with friends who are not necessarily Christian, with friends, families who are embracing their religious traditions in a different way. What is it about being a Christian that you choose to continue to be? Because that there are many young people choosing to follow Christ. Maybe we should ask them, what is it about that? Is it because your parents were? Actually, there's quite a few studies showing that it's not necessarily parents who led their kids to Christ. It's through relationship and other platforms.
Sure. We always go back to where society is moving and asking those people that are going to be our future and are currently our present. My last question to you, Chantal, is how then can faith communities support young people seeking deeper, more personalized spiritual experiences?
Help them unpack the one text we say is central, the Bible.
Yeah.
I think just help them understand why there's different versions of the Bible, where those versions come from, help them read it in community, help them understand the context into which those different portions were written, who wrote them, why was it written in that time, and help them connect this old text that we say is key to our faith, help them connect it to their lived experience and context today. That's definitely one core. I mean, if we're saying that's core to our faith, we read our Bible, we pray every day. I play on those terms, I know. But then, let's help them understand that, because even if it's their Bibles on their phones, help them know which, if I go into the Bible app, there's so many versions. How do I even know which one to open up? Yes. So we could start there, help them understand this supposedly important text.
Sure. Chantal, thank you for all your wisdom, words of wisdom. Is there anything that you can give to our youth, a little nugget of advice for those who are struggling with this concept? Something that they can take and remember, meditate on, and just think about to encourage them as they navigate a tricky concept.
I would say to every young person who has made the call to say, I am a Christ follower and I choose to live as a Christian, do not confuse being humble with being stepped on. I think you need to realize your identity is in Christ, and that identity forms part of who you are as a person, your personality. It also forms part of your family history and background. And so our parents and grandparents have come from a regime where humble meant keep quiet. I'm saying no, humble means self-confidence and a confidence in the God that you serve. So be fully confident in your choice, and do not be scared to share that with others.
Completely. And stand firm in that. Stand firm in your faith.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chantal. And obviously, as we've seen, faith deconstruction doesn't mean abandoning your faith. It means wrestling with where you feel the sense of comfort and what aligns with you. So thank you for that, Chantal, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today. And I truly hope that each one of you listening, that you've taken a bit of a nugget that you can impart to somebody else, and just continue to have these tough conversations and meaningful conversations with all those around you.